Howdy. Welcome to my shop. My name's Ron and I'll be your host for the next 10 minutes or so. Being a fourth generation carpenter, wood is that's my language. It's my living, it's my hobby, it's my passion. One of those passions is making stocks. I've never had any formal training in this. I just wanted to put a piece of wood on a gun one day, and I seemed like that'd be a pretty unique challenge, so I tried it. And been going at it ever since, but honestly, I owe a lot of my success to my customers, my friends that have suggested this or that, different ways of doing it to produce a better outcome. And so I appreciate them. I owe them a great deal. The finish that I use was suggested by a friend of mine that owns a gun shop in Georgia, a guy named Dan. I've been friends with him for many years, and I owe him for that knowledge. So I don't suggest that my way is the only way. That's just not the case. I picked up my abilities to do this from watching other people and seeing other things and then figuring out how to do that. So it's a process. Some ways are better, cleaner, faster. They require less effort. On and on it goes. And I'm open to learning new and better ways. I'm always looking for that. My grandfather used to say, never let a day go by that you don't learn something. So when I do, I'll often look up, thanks, Pop, because no matter how old you get, you still need to be learning new things. So come on in, see what's going on today. Morning. Today I'm starting on a Thompson Center Encore. The customer already has a wooden buttstock that came with a composite camo plastic stock, and he's needing a fore-end made for it. So I'm going to try to match the color and style of this wooden buttstock here. This is a fairly straight grain piece of wood. It's kind of got a gold, little bit of a yellowness to it, and it's probably just the finish that they put on there, the stain. I've got a really old piece of wood here. It's kind of yellowed out on its own. Of course, when you get to cutting into that, you lose a little of that, but it's fairly straight grain. Got a little sweep right in there on both sides. Kind of a little bit of jazz there going on. So I've got to match this. I've got to make this to match that. So what I'm going to do is put a straight, good straight edge along this top. I'm going to make, this is my top right here. I've chosen which is up and which is down. This is what I want for the top. This is a little tapered. It's narrower here than here, and I got a straight edge over here I can use on my rip fence. But I'm going to show you how to put a block in here and make that straight without having to make it parallel. I want to save as much of this top as I can. This is just a little piece of block of 1/2 inch plywood. I'm going to lay it right in there because I need for this thing to scoot over just a little bit. I'm just going to keep it where it is and rip this with this thing shimmed over. This is just a homemade taper gauge is what it is. That gives me a true edge here. It's straight. It's not very slick, but it's straight. I'll work on that in a minute. That gives me something I can put against my fence to size the rest of it. Now the fattest part of this forearm is back here at the back. So I'm going to make myself a blank. It's about a 1/4 inch bigger than that. that I can work down. Slip this thing up just a little bit more. I'm running in about a 30-second. I'm just going to mill that off. Real nice and slow and easy. There you go. And I've got about, 1/8 of an inch or more wider than the fattest part of this plastic forearm. My walnut is wider. Alright, this is my top, and that's the front. The arrow marks forward. So I'm going to do a little bit of tracing here. I'm going to give myself about 1/8 of an inch on the front just for some padding. And then I'm going to trace the back of this thing. It has this little, I don't know, this little funny silhouette. What it does, it covers that pin up right there. When on an Encore you have a pin you can remove and just change the barrels. Now that shape, with that curve, that sweep, it matches the contour lines on this receiver. And it also allows that, when you release this, it allows that barrel to pivot down. So I'm not going to try to reinvent the wheel here. I'm just going to go with the same shape they've got. I'm going to cut that out on the bandsaw. And there's one safety rule that I usually observe quite a bit, and that's you don't need this guard any higher than it needs to be to just pass your work through there, to clear the workpiece. Most people don't take safety tips from a guy that's missing a thumb already, but believe me, I do know some of them. That's just a touch fatter than the original. I can always sand it down, but to me it looks like it needs a little bit more beef up there. First thing I got to do in fitting this is take the middle out of this where it can fit around that receiver. That's the first thing. There's a lot of clearance between this stalk and this receiver. I don't know why. And it's through the bottom. It's across the top. It's kind of in between there too. There's about 20-something thousandths clearance right there, and I don't understand why they allowed that much. It doesn't need it. It's nothing's binding. You could throw a cat through there. I don't like a lot of big clearance if there's not a reason for it. If there's not some sort of logic, and I'm having trouble finding any logic for that much clearance. So I'm going to start with less than that. If I need to, I can always widen it out. The way this thing tips, there's a square corner right there, a little, that's on about a 40-degree angle or so. There's a notch back in here, right in there. And really, I don't know of a decent way to mill that. Of course, this is just a piece of plastic. They can form it however they want to. but I got to mill it into wood. So what I'm going to do is start with a slot right here with a flat bottom, and it stops right along in here.